What's up everyone, we're going to be going through the best WNBA player props on PrizePicks today. Now I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see, we actually got 22 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. Now a lot of you comment wanting to see how many I got wrong, and I thought I'd show you in today's video. We only got one pick wrong and got 22 right, which is a 98% win rate. Yes guys, you heard that right, 98% win rate. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get a 98% win rate and get 22 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon. Should be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $400 just yesterday, and another member who won $150 for the 5th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description. So go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group, and I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. A quick shout out to Gene Williams 9255 who said Goat Talk. Shouts out to Cartoon Cowboy who said first time watching, and shouts out to Ricardo Gioza 2981 who said let's get paid, let's go. So shouts out to them, and if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. All right, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're going to be talking about is none other than Azora Stevens, and this one is for 8.5 rebounds, and this one actually is for less. Now looking at Azora Stevens, we actually have seen her go on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games. Now looking at these 5 games, we do see on July 6th faced off against Indiana, had 12 rebounds there. Then July 11th faced off against Minnesota, had 10 rebounds. July 14th after that actually faced off against Connecticut, had 11. Then 8 rebounds against Washington Mystics on July 16th. And then Washington Mystics again on July 23rd and had 6 rebounds in that matchup. So we definitely did see a very interesting last couple of games. Obviously, she has gone on the under in the most recent 2 matchups, and her average over the last 5 is also 9.4. Now, looking at this matchup, we do know Azora Stevens and Los Angeles Sparks have themselves a very good matchup against Connecticut Sun. So it is going to be an exciting game, but looking at where both of these teams do rank, we do know that Los Angeles Sparks have had a pretty, lackluster season. They do come in at the 10th spot in the WNBA with a record of 9 wins and 14 losses. That's a 39.1% win percentage. They're also 3-8 from home, 6-6 from away, and are currently on a 3-game win streak. Now, they face off against Connecticut Sun, and as we look, and as we all know as well, Connecticut Sun do actually rank a 13th. Now, they are last in the actual WNBA and also last in their Eastern Conference. Now, they have a record of 3 wins and 19 losses. That's a 13.6% win percentage. They are 2-8 from home, 1-11 from away, and are currently on a 3-game losing streak. So it's definitely been a little bit tough there. Now, looking at Connecticut Sun and where they do rank rebounding-wise, we do know rebounding-wise, we actually do see that Connecticut Sun do rank 13th. So, why do we like the under for this situation? And a big reason being is that when we look at Connecticut Sun, they actually do a fantastic job at restricting rebounds to the actual big man position, or in this case, big woman. Now, when we look at this, the big position, whether it's forward or center, we definitely have seen Connecticut Sun do a great job defensively, and we are expecting them to do the same in this next matchup. Now, they have played against each other on July 14th, and we actually did see Azora Stevens did better than her line. She actually got 11 rebounds in that matchup. Now, that was definitely a big matchup there. We weren't really expecting her to go on the over, but as I've always mentioned, there is going to be times where that happens. But now, coming into this next matchup, we should see a pretty different story. Now, looking at Azora Stevens, we do know that her average over the last 5, like I mentioned, is 9.4. She has had some big games, but we should see her come back down to reality as we have seen her against the 2 Mystic matchups. She did go on the under, and we should see it happen again against Connecticut Sun. So we should see Connecticut Sun make a couple adjustments and have her go on the under in this occasion. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this one. So Azora Stevens, 8.5 rebounds for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now getting to the next one, we're actually going to be talking about Jackie Young. So Jackie Young, great player as we all know, and this one's a fantastic one for 14.5 points, and this one actually is for less. Now looking at Jackie Young, we actually do know that she's average when it comes to the last 5 games, 15. Now she has gone on the under in 3 out of the last 5, and looking at the last 5, we do see some pretty interesting matchups. We do see on July 9th, faced off against New York Liberty, actually had 19 points there. Then also faced off against Washington Mystics after that, had 10 points. Then Golden State Valkyries on July 13th had 30 points. Then 2 points against Dallas Wings on July 17th. And then 14 points against Atlanta on July 23rd. So we have seen Jackie Young struggle a little bit. Like I mentioned, 3 out of the last 5 games. And looking at the Las Vegas Aces, they do have themselves a very good matchup against Indiana Fever. Now, Indiana Fever, as we all know, and Las Vegas Aces, both pretty decent teams. Looking at where Las Vegas Aces do rank, we do know that they rank 6th in the WNBA. They have a record of 12 wins and 11 losses. That's a 52.2% win percentage. They are 7-4 from home, 5-7 from away, and are currently on a 3-game win streak. So it's definitely been huge for them there. Now, looking at this matchup, we also do know, looking at Fever's side, Fever only 1 slot below because they actually come in at the 7th spot in the WNBA. They have a record of 12 wins and 12 losses. That's a 50% win percentage. They are 7-6 at home, 5-6 from away, and are currently on a 2-game losing streak. So looking at both of these teams, we definitely have seen, when it comes to Jackie Young, we have seen her, go on the under 3 out of the last 5. And looking at Indiana Fever, it is definitely going to be an interesting matchup because Indiana Fever, when it actually comes to points allowed, they do actually rank 8th. So why do we like the under for this situation? It's because when we look on a per position basis, we do actually see that Jackie Young is a guard and Indiana Fever actually do a fantastic job at restricting points to the guard position. So we are definitely expecting the under for this situation here. Now looking at someone like Jackie Young, we also do know coming into this matchup, looking at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have her favored for the under as well, so that works out in our favor there. So Jackie Young, 14.5 points for less, I think is a great pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about another Las Vegas Aces player, and that is none other than Chelsea Gray. So Chelsea Gray, great player, and this one is for points for 9.5, and this one also is for less. Now, looking at Chelsea Gray, we actually have seen her go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games. Looking at those 5 games, we do see some pretty interesting ones. We see her matchup actually against New York Liberty on July 9th, had 11 points there. Then Washington Mystics had 13 points on July 11th. July 13th, faced off against Golden State Valkyries, had 6 points in that matchup. Then 6 points against Dallas on July 17th. Then 9 points against Atlanta on July 23rd. So you have actually seen Chelsea Gray go on the under in actually, 3 out of the last 5, and her average over the last 5 is also 9. So significantly below this line. Now, touching on the game again, Aces do face off against Indiana. Now, just to quickly remind you all, Indiana Fever do rank 7th in the WNBA. Now, they rank 3rd in the Eastern Conference, however, with a record of 12 wins and 12 losses. And over the last 10 games, they actually have a record of 5-5, so straight 50% there. Now, when we look at the Aces rank 6th in the WNBA, but rank 4th in the Western Conference. They have a record of 12 wins and 11 losses, so just slightly a bit better than Indiana. And over the last 5 games, they have a record of 6 wins and 4 losses. So somewhat similar, but still definitely a little bit different. Now looking at Aces and Indiana Fever and looking at Fever defensively, we do see Indiana Fever ranking 8th in the points department. So they rank 8th when it comes to points allowed, as we've mentioned. But like we mentioned with Jackie Young, she is a guard. Chelsea Gray is also a guard. And we do like the under for this situation here, as Indiana Fever do a fantastic job at restricting points to the guard position. So we definitely see her going on the under in this situation here. Now looking at Chelsea Gray as well, we have seen her usage rate definitely fall quite a bit in the most recent games, and it's definitely due to adjustments that we have seen Las Vegas Aces taken when it comes to their offensive structure. And we definitely still see that happening in this next game as well. So the usage rate is definitely not going to be there for Chelsea Gray as we usually have seen, and that's what we are expecting coming into this matchup. So keeping an eye out for that, Chelsea Gray, 9.5 points for less, I think is a great pick. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but PrizePicks is delayed with some of their lines, so here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player we're going to be talking about is none other than Olivia Nelson-Ododa. Now, as you all know, Olivia is a fantastic player for Connecticut Sun. She has done a great job so far this season, actually averaging 8.5 points, 6 rebounds, 0.9 assists, and also 0.7 steals. So she's definitely done a fantastic job there. Now, as we all know, Connecticut Sun do have themselves a very, very good matchup as they face off against Los Angeles Sparks. Now, we have briefly touched on that, but just to reiterate and remind you all, Connecticut Sun face off against the Sparks. Connecticut Sun do actually rank 13th in the WNBA. They do rank last. They are 3-19, so their record hasn't been the best. 13.6% win percentage. They are 2-8 from home, 1-11 from away games, and are currently on a 3-game losing streak. So it's definitely been a little bit tough for them there. Now they do face off against the Sparks. Now Sparks do rank 10th in the WNBA with a record of 9 wins and 14 losses. So they have a 39.1% win percentage. They are also 3-8 from home, 6-6 from away, and are currently on a 3-game win streak. So it's definitely been a pretty, hot streak for Sparks as of recent. But coming into this game as well, we do also know that the Los Angeles Sparks do rank, when it comes to points allowed, they rank 12th. Then also in assists allowed, they do rank 9th. And then rebounds allowed, they also do rank, first. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, Sparks aren't really doing the best, but they do rank higher in that rebounding category. Now, coming into this game, we do actually like the over for this situation here, but strictly just for points and assists. Now, when it comes to someone like Olivia, we do know she does have a little bit more of a higher usage rate in the points department. So we are expecting more likely that PrizePicks will come out with a line with her points line compared to her assists. So like I mentioned with saying that, I do believe points is probably where you want to focus on. If there isn't a line out for an assist, then there's definitely a lot of value there, but I just don't really see PrizePicks doing that, but still definitely keep an eye out for both. Now, the reason why we do stay away from rebounds is the fact that Sparks do rank number 1 in rebounds. It definitely does get a little bit tough there. But looking at Olivia Nelson-Ododa over the last 5 games, we have seen her face off against Las Vegas Aces, had an 86-68 loss, but had 9 points, 7 rebounds, and 1 assist there. Then on the 10th, faced off against Seattle, had a 93-83 victory with 8 points, 6 rebounds, and 0 assists. Then faced off again on the 12th against Seattle with a 79-69 loss with actually 10 points, 8 rebounds, and also 1 assist there. After that, faced off against Los Angeles Sparks actually and had 4 points, 3 rebounds, and 0 assists in that matchup. So we actually also saw her face off against Indiana, where she actually had 6 points, 5 rebounds, and 1 assist in that matchup. So we actually have seen, Olivia Ododa face off against the Sparks in the past. Now, it didn't really do too well when you look at the stats. However, we are expecting her to make some adjustments and do a lot better in this matchup. As I've always mentioned, with games like this, there will be times where, players don't really do well compared to what they are expected or what is more probable. And those times are definitely going to happen. And I do believe that was one of those games, but we should definitely see her make some adjustments and definitely change in this next matchup. So definitely keep an eye out for Olivia coming into this matchup for the actual, over in this situation, but strictly just for points. So, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Nelissa Smith. So, Nelissa Smith, a great player, as we all know, from none other than the Las Vegas Aces. She has done a fantastic job so far this season, averaging 6.9 points, 5 rebounds, 0.8 assists, and also 0.5 steals. So, we definitely have done a fantastic job there. And looking at Nelissa Smith, we do see her and the Las Vegas Aces face off against Indiana Fever. Now, when we look at Indiana Fever, we do know, looking at both of these teams, where they rank. Aces do come in at the 6th spot with a record of actually 12 wins and 11 losses. They do have a record, like I mentioned, of 7-4 at home, 5-7 from away, and are currently on a 3-game win streak. And then Fever, on the other hand, 7th in the actual WNBA, but ranked 3rd in the Eastern Conference. Now, they have a record of actually 12 wins and 12 losses, so a straight 50-50% And on top of that, also have 7-6 from home, 5-6 from away, and are currently on a 2-game losing streak. Now, looking at Nelissa Smith and also the Las Vegas Aces, we do know coming into this matchup, we do see that Indiana Fever, yes, they do rank pretty low in points as they rank 8th, but they also do rank 2nd in assists allowed and also 4th in rebounds allowed. Now, they have fallen a little bit, just a tad, as they did have, at one point or were number 1 or number 2 in both of those categories. However, coming into this next matchup, we still do like the under for this situation for Nelissa Smith, but strictly just for rebounds and assists. Indiana Fever, although they have fallen just slightly, they also still do very, very well at restricting those two categories. A big reason is their defense has not only just been on point, but on top of that, they've done a great job at really slowing down the pace in the rebounding and assist department. The defensive strategies just really have situations where there's not really assist or many assist opportunities for the other team, and it's definitely paid dividends, which is why they do so well in those categories. So looking at Nelissa Smith over the last 5 games, we see on the 9th faced off against New York Liberty, had an 87-78 loss with 11 points, 4 rebounds, and 1 assist there. Then faced off against Washington with a 70-68 loss there with 6 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. After that, faced off against Golden State Valkyries with a 104-102 win with actually 2 points, 0 rebounds, and 1 assist. Then faced off against Dallas with a 90-86 win with 7 points, 8 rebounds, and 1 assist there. And then against Atlanta Dream on the 23rd, had an 87-72 win with 11 points, 4 rebounds, and 0 assists there. Now, like I mentioned with Nelissa Smith, when it comes to rebounds and assists, I definitely would focus a little bit more on those two categories. As I've always mentioned, keep an eye out for the line first, and if the line is too close to her averages, then that's definitely where you see a lot of value to see her go on the under there. So keep an eye out for Nelissa Smith. Getting into the next player, we're actually going to be talking about another matchup we haven't talked about yet, and that is none other than Rachel Banham and Chicago Sky, because they have a good matchup against Seattle Storm. But starting off with Rachel and where she does, or how she's been doing so far this season, we actually have seen her average 8.1 points, 1.2 rebounds, 2.2 assists, and 0.5 steals. So she's definitely done a fantastic job there. Now, coming into this matchup, we do also know that, looking at Rachel and Chicago Sky, they face off against Seattle Storm. Now, looking at both of these teams and where they do rank, starting off with Chicago come in at the 11th spot in the WNBA and have a record of 7 wins and 16 losses. So I have a 30.4% win percentage. They are 4-6 from home, 3-10 from away, and are currently on a 3-game losing streak. Now, they face off against Seattle Storm, which is going to be a big matchup. Now, Seattle Storm on the other side do actually rank 4th in the WNBA. They have a record of 14 wins and 10 losses. That's a 58.3% win percentage. And on top of that, they also are 8-5 from home, 6-5 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So it's definitely interesting to see there, due to the fact that when we look at Rachel, coming into this matchup, we do also see that Seattle Storm do rank 3rd when it comes to points allowed. They rank 5th when it comes to assists allowed, and then rebounds allowed. We also do see Seattle Storm rank 12th. So it's a little bit interesting there. They rank, good in some categories, a little bit worse in others. Now, coming into this matchup, we do actually like the under for this situation here for someone like Rachel Banham, but strictly just for points. Now, a big reason for that is due to the fact that Rachel is, a guard for Chicago Sky. And what we have seen so far is that Seattle Storm do a fantastic job at restricting points as well to the guard position. Now, like I mentioned before, Seattle do rank 3rd, so they do very, very well. And that's why coming into this matchup, we do or are expecting someone like Rachel to go on the under in this situation here. Now, looking at Rachel, we have also seen in the past that when it comes to her last 5 games, you see against Dallas on the 10th, won 87-76, had 11 points, 1 rebound, and 2 assists there. Then faced off against Minnesota, had an 87-81 victory with 12 points, 3 rebounds, and 5 assists. Then on the 15th, faced off against Minnesota, had a 91-78 loss with 15 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists. Then 17th, faced off against Atlanta, had an 86-49 loss with 6 points, 1 rebound, and 2 assists. Then faced off against Minnesota again with a 91-68 loss with 8 points, 1 rebound, and 0 assists. Now this one's an interesting one. Obviously, they have had a couple of matchups against Minnesota in those last 5, so it is really hard to really gauge off the last 5 as they have faced off, against the same team 3 out of those 5 games. But coming into this next one, we are expecting a very, very different sort of strategy as they face off against Seattle. Seattle have just done a fantastic job all season at restricting points, and a big reason for that is due to the fact that they do a great job at slowing down the pace of games. And since Chicago Sky, they do like to play somewhat fast, and Rachel Banham definitely does like to take advantage of that pace. Coming into this game, we are expecting Seattle to slow down the pace, and less pace means less volume, and less volume for someone like Rachel. So for that reason, keep an eye out for the under for this one. As I've always mentioned, keep an eye out for the line. If the line is too close to her averages, then definitely look to go on the under there. So getting into the next player, I also want to talk about Wnba Cannon. So Wnba Cannon, great player for, Los Angeles Sparks. She has done a fantastic job averaging 4.7 points, 1.8 rebounds, 0.4 assists, and 0.5 steals. So we definitely have seen her do a great job there. Now coming into this next one, we do also know that, Wnba Cannon and Los Angeles Sparks, face off against Connecticut Sun. And looking at the matchup against Connecticut Sun, we do know, just to quickly reiterate and remind you all, we do know Connecticut Sun ranked 13th with a record of 3-19. They also, over the last 10, have a 1-9 record, and they face off against Los Angeles Sparks, who also have a pretty poor record, ranking 10th with a 9-14 record, and over the last 10, have a record of 5-5. So it's a little bit interesting there. Now, coming into this next matchup, we do know Wnba Cannon, great player, but looking at this matchup more in depth, we do see that Connecticut Sun do rank 13th when it comes to points allowed, 12th when it comes to assists allowed, and 13th when it comes to rebounds allowed. Now coming into this game, we do very, very much, like the over for this situation here for someone like Wnba Cannon. And this one's kind of a no-brainer to us. Wnba, great player as we all know, but what we have seen time and time again is that we actually do know that she definitely is able to take advantage of poor defensive matchups. And we definitely see that happening here. Connecticut Sun are just such a poor defensive team, unfortunately, and no disrespect to them, but they do allow a lot of points, rebounds, and assists, and we are expecting someone like Wnba Cannon, who has been able to take advantage of poor defensive teams. We are expecting her to do that in this matchup. Now, looking at her past, last 5 games, we do see on the 30th of last month, face off against Chicago, had a 92-85 loss there, but had 15 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist there. Then against New York Liberty, had an 89-79 loss, but had 4 points, 1 rebound, and 0 assists there. Then against Indiana Fever, had an 89-87 win with 0 points, 1 rebound, and 0 assists there. Then faced off against Minnesota, had a 91-82 loss, and also had 7 points, 1 rebound, and 0 assists. Then faced off on the 16th against Washington, had 0 points, 0 rebounds, and 0 assists. So it's definitely, pretty interesting to see. Obviously, that most recent game, she didn't get quite a lot of minutes, but when we do see Wnba Cannon get good usage rate out there, we definitely see her be able to take advantage of poor defensive teams, and that was what we are expecting, especially against a matchup like Connecticut Sun. So keep it out for Wnba Cannon's line. I see a lot of value there to go on the over, especially if the line is under her averages.